All right. I'm going to talk about Liam Payne from the perspective of somebody who I was a big One Direction fan back in the day. And I pay attention because I'm neurodivergent. But like I haven't paid attention to the boys, a lot of them in years. If they do something, I'm like, oh, all right, I'll glance at it. Harry's the only one that I've really like ever paid attention to, because he's a little sweet, I like. he's over here in the club. In the club, we're off. But I think while this isn't an excuse for the behavior that we all know who I'm talking about, did while he was alive, or for the addiction that he clearly displayed and was struggling with, I think that what a lot of people do not know about him, because they weren't paying attention that young, and I've just not seen anybody talk about this. He was also groomed. And I think that this is a really, really, really important point to bring about, because I'm pretty sure one of the judges from the X Factor, was it Cheryl something? Or maybe I'm mixing it up. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that this woman was like 35, 40 years old and got together with him when they were around, like, I think when he was around like 23, 25, something like that. So a couple of years after the boys got off of X Factor, were popular, and then I think when things were like dying down for the band, they got together. So he was groomed by an older woman. And then you think about like the fall of your career, this older woman hyping you up as this like young, boy in a boy band. So yes, absolutely. When you're manipulated in that way, you start to only see yourself as valuable based off of like the relationship you have to this band. And like, I don't know, you become narcissistic because like, that's what narcissism breeds. That's what grooming breeds. That's what abuse breeds, is more of that, unfortunately, in order to navigate the world, oftentimes. And so I think it just like, it explains a lot of like the path in which he has followed, and why I'm not excusing his behavior, but I'm not speaking ill of him in the way that other people are speaking ill of him, because there is evidence that he was experiencing mistreatment from someone who was an authority figure to him, was someone who was in a place of power. There's a power dynamic regardless of whether she used to be a judge on the X Factor or she was way older than him, or whatever it might be. Like, this woman was older than him, I'm pretty sure. Like, get me together if I'm wrong. I'm gonna go Google this. Hold on. So it was Cheryl Cole, who was a judge on the X Factor. My memory's very good. And she even said to him on the X Factor, I like you. I think you're very cute. They started dating in 2015. Liam was 31 years old. Let's go 9 years back. He was 22 when this woman was 41, I believe, or 30 something. She's 41 right now. Okay, so she was 31. Okay, she potentially was a 31-year-old being with a 22-year-old. And you don't think that's fucking weird too? And you had a power dynamic with him because you knew him off of the X Factor? And that's his baby mama. So his baby mama, I'm just saying that when your baby mama is your first like biggest abuser after you like, y'all, that it makes a lot more sense that things progressed in that way. And I'm like, where was his community? Where's his connections? And I think like you lose yourself when addiction comes into play, when not properly dealing with extreme traumas like that get in the way. Like, you become a vicious person. And I think also hearing accounts of like him being able to be way more grounded when he was sober makes so much more sense. And I've not necessarily struggled with like sobriety or issues with like substances or alcohol or anything like that, but I have been through an extreme amount of trauma. And when you are coping in ways that are not good for you, you really do become this like disgusting, like monstrous version of who you thought you were. Like, when you move from the path of like genuinely being a victim into victimizing yourself, and then turning that, like, that you being a victim into everybody else's problem too, it's very easy to slip into that. And I can just like, and I understand how he got to where he was. And it doesn't excuse any of the behaviors. And I'm not saying that he's okay. I'm not saying that it's all right. But it makes sense that someone who was groomed publicly and no one helped him, no one said anything at that time. I don't remember back in the day in the headlines ever like people being like, that age gap is a little weird, because it was 2015. And age gaps weren't a problem until the 2020s, right? Apparently. And he's a man. So, yeah. Anyway, this isn't in defense of Liam Payne. This is an explanation of his behaviors and an understanding, because I've just like, this is also why I'm like, I don't want to know this much internet lore about anybody else ever again. This is why I'm starting now at 25 years old, divesting from celebrity culture. So everything that I know about celebrities now, just because I pay attention, just because I admire the people that I admire, I pay it. Like, I got a good brain. Like, I'm a little smart, okay? I remember things randomly, but I remember things. Yeah. But I mean, it was really like, honestly, it was crazy because I had just seen videos of people talking about Liam at Niall's concert and how he was behaving, and his like latest relationship and his past relationship where he was apparently being like psychologically abusive and all of these things. And like, and I'm like, oh, yeah, somebody allegedly addicted to coke and an alleged abuser who was also groomed publicly makes a lot of sense. And I think we also have to, like, we really have to start seeing these patterns of abuse at the source. And I think being able to understand people as nuanced human beings, because I saw like the progression of this human being, like I don't even know him like that, but I'm just like, just from what I know, because I was a fan of One Direction as a young person, and me being knowledgeable of like their relationships a little bit. I don't know anything past, I don't know who they date for real. I know that Zayn dated one of the model girls, and they not together. I don't know anything past that. Like after probably like 2016, I wasn't paying attention anymore because I was like 17 years old. One Direction was like, you know, they were, and I was like, okay, this isn't cute anymore. And I don't really like boys like that. I was going through a lot of shit. So, but yeah. Anyway, I'm not defending Liam Payne. I'm explaining to you why this celebrity died at 31 years old. Just from an outside perspective of someone who was like, I noticed that. And no one is talking about that when they're analyzing him or talking about the situation, or when people were talking about his past relationship or his like recent behavior. No one had been saying anything about the fact that like he had experienced that. And I don't know. I think it's context that I think is really vital in his story. Anyway, okay, bye.